From Southern Colorado's high-definition news leader, this is News Channel 13, where the news comes first.
The hunt is over for a man that is suspected of killing 3 in Rye before setting their house on fire. Tonight we are talking with one of the victims' husbands about what he would like to see now that Harry Mapps is behind bars.
And Bronco fans will have some chances to see a game in person after tonight's win that secured home field advantage. Coming up, KRDO News Channel 13 Sports Director Rob Nandum joins us with the highlights.
Plenty of clouds hung around at least El Paso County this afternoon. There were a few flurries as well, but conditions are going to become much more mild as we go through our 7-day forecast. We'll show it to you coming up in just a bit.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Joe Dominguez.
And I'm Jonathan Petramala. First up tonight, the man wanted for killing 3 people in Pueblo County is awaiting extradition to Colorado. Harry Mapps was captured last night in Oklahoma.
U.S. Marshals arrested Mapps at a motel in Roland, Oklahoma. That's on the eastern side of the state near Fort Smith, Arkansas. He was found more than 700 miles from Rye, where he's accused of killing a family and then setting their home on fire to cover up the crime.
New on 13, Michelle San Miguel spoke with the victim's family tonight. Michelle, how are they handling the news?
I spoke with Mark Roderick, whose wife John was murdered last month. He told me he was in disbelief when he heard the news. He was worried Harry Mapps would never be caught.
He goes, "They got him." I said, "Are you serious?" And he goes, "Yeah."
On Saturday night, Mark Roderick and his children received the news they had been waiting to hear for over a month. The man accused of killing this wife and mother had been found.
It just seemed like everybody was happy for the first time in over a month.
Mark Roderick doesn't think his family will ever heal, but he says Mapps' capture will help them start.
My kids are suffering. My kids are going to have to live with this for the rest of their lives.
He plans on being in the courtroom every day of Mapps' trial with one question in mind.
I'm going to ask him, "Why'd you do this to my kids?"
Mapps is accused of killing Kim and Reginald Tuttle and their daughter Dawn Roderick, and then setting their home on fire the day before Thanksgiving. Mark Roderick said he wants Mapps to get the death penalty.
If I had to choose, I would say an eye for an eye. He needs to answer for what he did. So he needs to own up to it and live with it. If it cost him his life, it cost him his life.
Roderick said he hopes Mapps confesses to the crimes and spares the family from the heartbreaking details in court. But either way, Roderick said he plans on sitting there through it all.
I want him to know he did not break me, and he did not break my family. We're going to be stronger than what he has tried to destroy. We are a lot stronger than what he can ever imagine we are.
Mapps is being held in a jail in Oklahoma. He will be brought back to Pueblo County to face his charges, which include 3 counts of first-degree murder and arson. No word on when Mapps will be extradited. Reporting live in Pueblo, Michelle San Miguel, KRDO News Channel 13.
As expected, the snow came and left pretty quickly. Storm Tracker 13 meteorologist Jay Polk was tracking it through the weekend. Jay, what can we expect moving forward?
No more snow, at least not throughout the rest of the week, Joe and Jonathan. The snow hung around in the flurry form earlier this afternoon in El Paso County and then went away altogether. But there were still some clouds, mainly in El Paso County. That was pretty much the only area that saw some clouds. Salida did too, off to the south of Salida along Highway 50. Those clouds are persistent. They're hanging around. They're still sitting over portions of El Paso County over the last few hours. And now some clouds have begun to make their way through the mountains, but there are no snow showers associated with these clouds as they push their way from north to south from Metro Denver down into Teller County. Woodland Park Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center camera shows us that it's 24 degrees, and the snow that was on the highway earlier on this morning has been swept aside and over to the sidewalks now and to the sides of the roads where there is still some slick spots to deal with this evening. Dry Lakes Fire and Rescue camera and Monument, 19 degrees at Woodmore Drive as we look at Interstate 25. Where it intersects Highway 105. 21 at the Springs Airport, 14 at the Pueblo Airport, 15 at La Junta, 21 at Lyman, and 19 the current temperature in Leadville, down to 2 above in Alamosa. You're back on your way to below freezing once again with that cold air trapped in the San Luis Valley. 19 at 8 o'clock in the Springs, 20 at Pueblo, 35 for the Springs and 36 in Pueblo, and it's not quite wall-to-wall sunshine, but mostly sunny skies. High temperatures topping out in the upper 40s to right around 50 degrees. 7-day forecast has more ups and downs in those temperatures in it, and it does have more snow chances too. We'll show you what day features those chances for the wintry stuff coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Jay. The police tape is gone and the road is open, but neighbors won't forget what they saw so close to home.
Police are looking for the driver responsible for taking a young man's life, then driving off. Investigators have interviewed 3 teenagers who are persons of interest in the case. No one has been arrested yet. We first brought it to you as breaking news in the 10 o'clock show last night. Police found the man dead near the intersection of Fountain Mesa Road and Grand Peak Road in Fountain. People reported earlier that the man was walking in front of traffic trying to get hit by cars. Dolores Carlson watched police piece together the tragedy through her back window. She says it was a similar story 3 years ago. A driver hit a motorcyclist and then took off. Carlson says the news is hard to hear for the neighborhood.
It's a young person, that's barely started their life. It makes it very hard. Even though I don't know him, I feel sympathy for his family.
If you have any information that could help police, you're asked to call the Fountain Police Department at 719-382-8555.
El Paso County Sheriff's deputies say stopping a woman walking down the middle of the road helped them stumble into a murder investigation. That stop was made on North Curtis Road near Peterson Air Force Base. She told the deputy about problems at a home on Curtis Road near Blue. Sheriff's deputies found a woman dead. They arrested Ray Stanley on murder charges. The victim has not been identified. An autopsy will determine how that person died. A man who police say stabbed a man inside a bus terminal yesterday is behind bars. It happened at the Greyhound bus terminal on South Weber Street, downtown. When police arrived, they found this man, 30-year-old Philip Wilkins. They say he had been in a fight with the victim earlier, left, then returned with a knife. Police say the victim tried to run away, but Wilkins ran him down. Wilkins is charged with attempted murder. The victim suffered serious injuries, but is in stable condition tonight. A Pueblo man has been identified as one of 3 Broncos fans attacked outside Sports Authority Field following the Chargers game. That was 2 weeks ago. Our news partners at the Pueblo Chieftain talked to Matt Diarrera about being stabbed 5 times. He told them he thought he was going to die. The stabbing happened after a minor car wreck in the parking lot. Diarrera says he, his brother, and a friend were backing out of a parking spot when their vehicle was hit. Denver police say 29-year-old Justin Lee Manzanares was arrested for assault. The Broncos put a cap on the regular season by beating up the Raiders.
Yeah, with the win, they locked up home field advantage through the AFC playoffs. Rob Renanum joins us now. Rob, wow, what can you say? Breaking records, getting the home field advantage.
How can you top what they did this season? And if you look at the Raiders' offense compared to the Broncos, polar opposites. It's amazing. 2 teams going in different directions. The Peyton Manning and the first-team offense only needed to play 1 prolific half of football today to set a few more records. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Peyton Manning just finished up his best regular season of his career today. The Broncos wasting no time. Manning hooking up with Eric Decker. Manning's first TD toss of the day. Next drive, Manning drops it off to Noshawn Moreno. Noshawn knows what to do with it. He punches it in. And then later on in the half, Manning looks like he still has some arm strength. Airs it out to Demaryius Thomas. And the Broncos hit the record for most points in the season at that point. And then at the end of the half, Manning to DT again. Manning sets the record for most passing yards in the season as the Broncos cruise to a 34-14 victory.
Yeah, it's probably one of my best years in Denver, I guess, considering it's only been my second year here. It's always rewarding when you put hard work in and you can reap those benefits with winning games.
Wow. How convenient was that?
Yeah, with the win today, the Broncos, as we mentioned, clinched the top seed in the AFC. We do know they'll play in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today at home, Sports Authority Field, at a game starting at 2:40. We know they'll play a team whose mascot starts with a C. They'll either play the Colts, the Chiefs, or the Chargers. All 3 of those teams will be in action next week. We'll have more on the Broncos and the AFC playoff picture coming up a little bit later in this newscast.
Great. Thanks a lot, Rob. Well, 1 month and 125 miles. That's how long it took 3 teams of wounded veterans to reach the South Pole on a remarkable expedition.
It's the same trip Prince Harry made and made a lot of headlines. And one of those veterans is from Colorado Springs. New at 10 tonight, KRDO News Channel 13's Olivia Wilmson joins us to explain the mission. Olivia?
Joe and Jonathan, 4 organizations, Soldiers to Summits, Walking with the Wounded, Soldier On, and Soldier On Sans Limites, combined for a united global endeavor. In teams of 4, wounded servicemen and women traveled to the South Pole to challenge themselves on a journey they say changed their lives.
Hey, everyone's feeling a bit tired.
It began as a competition in harsh conditions to reach the South Pole. A race between Americans, Brits, Canada, and Australia.
Reaching the pole was a great accomplishment, but it's only been sort of, a fraction of really what this is intended to do.
But along the 125-mile trek in nearly 50 degrees below zero, delays, injuries, and illnesses united the 3 teams of wounded veterans.
Really toned back, I guess, a bit of the competition or competitive attitude and really got everybody to work together and to just enjoy the experience.
Mark Wise is one of the 4 U.S. team members who, like his teammates, was hurt in combat.
I put my hand on my knee and slid over, and when I slid over, the IED detonated about a meter away, killing him, and it basically cut up the whole left side of my body.
4 years later, Mark found Walking with the Wounded, an opportunity he couldn't pass up.
When I exited the Army, you feel like you're leaving the team, and you really want to go ahead and continue to contribute to that mission.
An extraordinary task to ski to the South Pole was upon him, the training and Telluride. Mark knew that expedition in Antarctica would be tough, but he learned, miles from the finish line, how far he'd come.
Coming out of a coma after 9 days from being wounded to remembering the first time someone picked me up to stand on my 2 feet.
On his 2 feet, skiing to the South Pole, a spectacular way for Mark to make a difference.
This has given me the opportunity to do that and to feel sort of rewarded or have that rewarding experience to, again, continue to serve others.
What a remarkable man. Mark now sharing his experience with other veterans, wanting to help them recover. And that's really what this whole process is about, is so many of them come back and feel a little out of sorts, as you can imagine. So he's really wanting to spread the word about this program and do what he can to help.
Did he mention any serious injuries?
Yeah, I mean, he had to be off his feet for several months, and it took him a long time, as he said earlier, to get back on his 2 feet and walk again. And
but
we saw that
he
lost.
Was fine.
Oh yeah, during the expedition, no. Sorry, I misunderstood you.
That's okay.
But no, he did just fine himself. So
good, good.
Jay?
Much colder today than it was yesterday around southern Colorado. High temperature in the Springs was 27 degrees. Pueblo topped out at 33. Yesterday's high in the Springs was a record-tying 62. Pueblo topping out at 65. But temperatures are going to be closer to that 62 and 65, and they will be to this level that you see this afternoon. We'll show you the complete details in that forecast coming up next.